Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. And they can hear us. Hey, y'all.
Hey, welcome back to Girl. Let's talk about it. Episode 4
In our season 3, right?
Season 3. It's crazy because y'all, I'll be all over the place because the reason I only said episode 4 because I low-key forgot what season was on. That's bad for me. But we were just talking about something, and if y'all were just in the background with us, you would know exactly what I meant.
It was literally, the conversation correlated very, very well. Like, y'all would have understood, huh? I just really want to do this real quick before I forget because, we just talked about it. I want to make sure that for one, I wanted to share it. So, there we go. Okay. So, this week, we're going to be talking about millennials and our parenting, and if it is considered that, let me back it up. Are we breaking generational curses, or are we the problem, right? I want us to kind of talk about the concept around gentle parenting and even just the parenting style or parenting techniques that we as a generation are trying to employ with our children, and if it's going to be beneficial, if it has been beneficial, if it's working on our kids, or are we creating problems? Are we creating little monsters? And really, okay, let me give y'all a little background on how this topic came about. It's holiday season, and I'm pretty sure y'all, just like us, are getting Christmas lists from your littles, and you're going through these lists, and I've seen tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of memes about people being like, what? Like, reading through these kids' lists. Y'all, my daughter had the nerve to put Balenciaga on her list this year, and I can't.
She did? What?
Girl, I can't make it up.
Like, money.
No, really, like, she thinks we got like a money tree in the back or something, but she literally had like her Christmas list in sections, designer bags that I want, mostly Kurt Geiger, and I won't say like Kurt Geiger isn't super expensive, but the fact that the girl got the whole collection, the whole catalog, like, she got her designer bags on there, she got a bunch of different shoes on there, she got jewelry, she wants James Avery, she wants all of this stuff, and I felt like as a parent, I created this problem, right? Because I've tried to give my kids things or raise my kids in a way that I wanted or I would have enjoyed as a child, right? I want to give my kids the things that I didn't have. And it was
not even an option.
Right. It was right. I would have never in my mind thought to be like, I want some designer. Like, sure. I think one year I told my mom, this maybe back in like 2004 or something, when everybody had the little cute Louis Vuitton bags. It was like a little bag with a little handle on it. And I was like, Mom, I really want this bag. I really want this bag. I really want the bag. My mom looked at me like, okay. Right. No, but for real. And mind y'all, for those of y'all who know, I'm the oldest of 8. I have 7 siblings with my mother, not even including the siblings that I had with my dad, right? But like, Christmas is like, I'm not going to make it seem like we went without, because even though I was the oldest of 8, we still had a very, very good upbringing. Like, we didn't really have to struggle much. And if we did, my dad did a really good job of not letting us see that.
Right.
But it's just the things that our kids be fixing their mouths to ask for, because y'all know us as millennials, we got McDonald's money now. We got it ain't no, you got McDonald's. We don't say that to our kids.
No, she lying. I say that. I say that. I most definitely say that. I can't wait to say that. So of course I say that.
Well, girl, it backfires on me because my kids be like, yeah. Yeah. Can we actually go to Chick-fil-A instead? Okay, well.
I think my thing, I don't say if you have the money, I say we have it at home. We have McDonald's at home.
We got McDonald's at home.
You want a burger? What kind of burger you want? We want to whip this up in the kitchen. You want the type of fries? I'm going to go buy out. And we can have McDonald's a couple times in the next, a couple weeks instead of having it just this one time.
We can have McDonald's for breakfast, for lunch, what you want. I could whip it up.
Exactly. So, yeah.
I mean, I think, I guess like with me and my girls, it was more so. I mean, I would cook all the meal. Like my kids eat home cooked. Your kids eat home cooked all the time. You know, it ain't like there's never a day where we not preparing a meal for these kids. And I grew up that way. Like my mom did that for me. And I felt like, okay, that's standard, right? Like as a parent, we got to come home, we got to cook, even if it's been a long day and I don't feel like doing nothing. You know, I didn't cuss them out about why you ain't take this meat out. And I didn't came into the house and the meat still being frozen in the sink and all those things, right? Mm-hmm. But there's just certain things that I felt like were done or instilled in us that maybe we've skipped out, right, on our kids, and maybe we shouldn't have. And I feel like that's the topic that we need to discuss today.
Yeah, I'm like, well, even when it comes to like the food thing and stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie. When I was a kid, the only time we ever like went out like to a restaurant and sat was with my grandma. It was never as my parents, let's go out to eat. And my kids, they used to it. You know, like it's different. And I feel like our parents back then, they probably even wanted to do it, but I feel like they was like, we don't have the time to do it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. Like I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I could think back to some times that we've gone to restaurants, because we used to go to Ponderosa a lot. We used to go to Ponderosa, but no, it used to be random. It was random times that we would just go to Ponderosa. But it'd be like my mom and my aunties and my cousins. And
yeah,
we would go.
Something like that. I'm not okay. It was a couple times we went, like as a family, but it was not a often thing like we do with our kids.
Right, like we're trying to build these traditions and these habits that we do with our kids. Because like my husband and I would be like, okay, on Sundays we're gonna take the kids out. You know, we were just talking about that. Sundays we're gonna go out as a family to have dinner. And it got to the point where my kids were expecting it. If I decide I don't feel like going out this week, I don't feel like going out.
But it's Sunday. We used to this. It's our routine. Like we have to go out.
They're expecting it, and they're not realizing that these things that we've done, we did it as a luxury, as a gesture, and they've become so ingrained, so entitled to it that they feel like, what do you mean we're not going out for Sunday dinner? Look, what did we do? What, did we get in trouble? Like my grades is good. It's not. It wasn't a reward. It wasn't. It wasn't for that. It was just because.
Just because we want y'all to have better experiences than we had. And I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. But then it's like they feel like we owe it to them. They feel like it. They feel entitled to it now. And I feel like that's where the battle becomes, you know, are we helping or harming by raising our kids the way that we wanted to have been raised? Because there are some things that our parents did that, you know, I feel like some people, because don't get me wrong, I still cuss my kids out. They still get the tough conversations, those things like that. But I do feel like some people today parent, like, they just took away some of the pieces that were still very necessary, right?
Yeah.
Because there's too many times now where you see that kids don't know how to respect an adult. Like, I mean, for me, here's one thing, right? My grandmother was raised, you do not curse in front of your elders, right?
Yeah.
And today I see it's so different. Like that standard is so different today. Like I see people my age cursing still in, like, to their parents, and their kids at a certain age begin cursing in front of them. And to me, that will never be okay, because my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, everyone, as far back as I can think, has always said, it's respect to your elders. You don't cuss in front of your auntie. Like your mama, sisters, and brothers, you don't cuss in front of them either. Like if you're gonna cuss, you cuss to your cousins and bet nobody hear you. But it's never like it's just a respect thing to your elders that you don't cuss in front of them.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. Okay, so that's how I feel. That's how I was raised. That's everything. But now that I'm grown, it was I was on the phone with my dad, and I exited because I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, it slipped up, and he was like, girl, you grown. And I still try not to cuss in front of my parents, right? But they be telling me like, girl, you grown, like you're not like 18, 19 grown. You grown. Right.
Like we the 18. Now we there.
We 18 now.
Right. We
on film, we 18 now.
Right. another pill to swallow on another day. But yeah, you know, but it's still that piece, that little piece that's ingrained. Because my mom and some of my aunts, like I just feel like they still don't curse in front. But don't get me wrong, I know you know sometimes things happen. People get, you know, they go speak their mind, because it's always okay to speak your mind.
Right.
But I just always feel like it's still a thing. But I'm talking about like these kids that's like 18 and 19 and they're cussing in front of
I don't think that's okay.
Right.
I don't. If I don't know. It depends on the parent, because you have parents that don't care and like, I let them do it. They at this age. I want them to figure it out. Then you have those other parents that's overbearing and like, you know, I don't want you to cuss. I'm not saying that's overbearing, but it's like some things that they're so used to. I don't know. I feel like it can go either way.
But the way that I see it is, and hold on, let me just do this real quick, because you know the disclaimer. Because everything that we're saying is our opinions, right? It's nothing. We're not subject matter experts. Nothing that we're saying is backed by science. Nothing. These is just strictly our opinions, okay? But like, I feel like if you're teaching your kid that over there, and then they go to school and they get to cussing out a teacher,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like the things that we are instilling in the kids right now in our homes, we're preparing them for the world. You know, and yeah, you may feel like, oh, you know, it's not a big of a deal to cuss in front of me, but then now they're a reflection of you, and I know y'all know how it is. Like you go to the movies and you see a group of rowdy teenagers and they over there acting a fool. Like you like, where's their parents? I know their parents something better than that, but they over there, bitch, just and they loud. And they
you know, I'm sorry to cut you off, but it also be those kids that's doing that is that their parents is telling them, no, I don't want you to cuss. No, I don't want you to act like this. No, and they feel like they can't do certain things in the household. So when they do get that little freedom, they're acting that way because the people they're around is acting that way, and it's like, okay, now I feel free to. I can cuss. I can act this way. I can dress this way. You do all these things, but it be. I came from a strict household. Now I feel free.
Right, but think about that. What did you just say? They go around kids who are allowed, and that's what I'm saying. It's the influences that they see out in front of them that's put out into the world. Yeah. You know, and I'm not saying for everybody, like, hey, we all need to teach our kids to be respectful. I mean, yes, we do need to teach our kids to be respectful and how to act in public, right? I think that's basic ground rules, right? If you're gonna go with your friends and y'all go act a fool, go do it. Like, don't go into a public setting and act like that. Like, and I tell my daughter that all the time, and I'm sure she'd be one of those kids, all up in the Chick-fil-A with her friends. But you know,
this is a time and place for everything,
right?
If you at the house and y'all friends and like y'all inside and y'all want to, hey girl, y'all seen what happened, but when y'all go outside in public, know how to get very cutesy, get very, you know, act like you have common sense,
right? And
I be telling like when my kids do certain things outside the house, I'm like, now did I teach you that?
Right?
Did you do that at home?
Right?
Like if like for the summer, the girls went out to Illinois for the summer. And they did something. I'm like, would you do that at home? No. But that the other person is okay with it. But I'm like, still, just because that person okay with it, I need you to reflection of me.
Right.
So regardless, you don't do that at home, you don't do that at nobody else's house.
Right.
And I feel like some parents, now I'm not gonna lie, you have parents that's around their age, you have that parents that, okay, I'm gonna give y'all a little like way or whatever like that, and you have the other parents like, oh, my parents were strict, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've even seen that when we were growing up, where my mom was strict, but my friend's mom was like, you know, not as strict as my mom. Like my mom had me coming home at 6:00. And I was like, I don't know, 13, 14. In the summertime, I had to be home at 6:00. It wasn't even dark outside yet at 6:00. Like the other kids, like, I'm like, can I at least stay out to the street lights? I used to stay out till the street lights came on when I was 9, but now that I'm 13, I gotta be home at 6. Like, I used to feel like that was so unreasonable, but as I got older, I was like, no, it's not. It's not unreasonable. Yeah, it's not, because why do you need to be outside when it's dark? Bring your butt home. But no, it's like, okay, so there's that, right? Even that little thing, right? A curfew, right?
Yeah.
We grew up with a curfew where it was come home when the street lights were on, whatever.
You can't go this far. You have to stay
in this radius.
Yes.
You know, but it was also a different time too, right? Because the people in our neighborhood knew our parents.
Yeah.
Everybody grew up together. Here we live in a whole new state. We don't know nobody over here.
Girl, my baby bus stop is when I say at the end of the block, and I still faithfully like be on my phone and like, did you get on the bus yet? Let me know when you get on the bus. And I be watching her from the time she at that bus stop till she get on the bus, and then I wait till she get to school before my body can calm down.
Because you need to know she's where she's supposed to be.
I need to know that she's safe. I don't know. It's kind of hard for me because it's like back in the day, you know, I couldn't go that far. I couldn't do that much. And I'm like, is this the reason why? Because that anxiety of something happening to my baby. I don't know. Like, that's a big anxiety for me. Like they can't walk across. I don't know.
No, I think that's just any parent, right? Like,
no, it's not, because you have other parents that they let their kids do whatever, go to anybody's house, and they don't care.
No anxiety, no fear,
nothing. Like, oh, you want to go to your friend's house? Go ahead and go to your friend's house. I ain't speak to nobody. Mama, I don't know how they mama look. I don't know how to kill them.
The mama look like that make
girl, no, I'm sorry. It does make. I need to know how your mama look. I need to know where you stay. I need phone numbers. I need all that, because if you give me a number, that could be your big cousin that just don't care.
Right.
I'm just thinking of little slick stuff I used to do back in the day. So,
hey, call this number and tell my mom I'm sleeping over. The whole time it's your friend's older cousin.
Right. And it's like,
ain't no parent gonna be here tonight, but you're gonna be the tell them.
Just tell them, like, Kayla want to go to her best friend's house so bad, and it's that whole thing. Whereas, do your friend have a brother? Do your dad stay in a house? Like, different
those
things like
that we wouldn't have thought about, like, as a kid. You know, you're not worrying about that type of stuff, but it's like, knowing what we know now, I don't put nothing past nobody. My kids don't spend the night. My kids don't spend the night.
No, they don't.
And it's like we have sleepovers, but they don't. My kids don't spend the night.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think when it comes to kids, and then with the whole, just the topic overall, is we don't know if the gentle parenting is going to be good or bad, because you have, like, I'm not gonna lie, when my kids get older, I want them to stay in the house until like they're 25.
Oh, that's interesting, because we had a similar conversation, my husband and I, about our kids being able to stay in the house until they got married. Which, you know,
yeah.
So here's where my thought process was with that, right? We see a lot of other cultures allowing their children, their adult children, to live with them, and the adult children, by the time they leave their home, they have had enough time to establish their credit. They've had enough time to understand financial literacy. They've had enough time to understand, you know, what it takes, right? They're not just pushing them out into the world for them to kind of figure it out on their own. They're actually giving them training wheels, right? Yeah. And making sure that their children, you know, have something when they go out into the world. Yeah. I left the house when I was 19, and I didn't have any tools, right? Right. But I feel like that's also because my parents were young.
Yeah, and they didn't
have the tools to give.
They didn't have the tools that, you know, I feel like when we learn and we have more experience with the world, like social media, Google, everything like that, our parents didn't have. Right. And I feel like now that we can see what other people doing that's outside of our race, we're like, oh, that's a good idea. We should have did this. Cause I'm like, I even heard a thing where when your kids start getting a job, charge them rent, but you put that rent into a savings account or whatever like that. So when it's time for them to move, that's all money
you're giving back to them.
They can buy their first house with. They can buy their first car with, like, you know, expensive car, whatever the case might be. And I feel like that's where we want to do with our kids.
Yeah. So when we're speaking breaking generational curses, it's instilling those type of things. I don't know about the gentle parenting thing. It doesn't work for me. And it could also just be that I'm not doing it right. Right? And here's why though, right? I was never shown the proper way to gentle parent, right? So the idea is to, it's to create boundaries and open communication and show empathy with your children. But I kind of fear that it creates fragile children, right?
Yeah.
Because then here we are, oh baby, no, it's okay. Let's do. And, listen, I feel like it's gonna work to a certain extent, right? But at what point? Look, I don't know. I really don't know.
What when you also like think about when you do? I don't know. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm gentle parenting after I cut you out. I'm sorry. That's just me. I have to think about my actions after the fact and then come back and then let's have a conversation about it. And I kind of like it that way. I don't like pushing my kids out with something. You need that. I just feel like you need it because when you get older, you don't want nobody just to. They're going to assume that they can say whatever, do whatever, and that's not going to be the case.
Yeah.
Because you might say, okay, how you feeling? But then you might have that other person that don't care about how you feeling. And you feel like you got to get your point across.
Right.
And then the other person like, I don't care.
Right. Like, I just think, too, how certain things, for example, if, here's why I feel like, okay, I like your approach, and I like the idea of gentle parenting if it's done properly, right? But the thing that I pull away from gentle parenting that I utilize the most is the communication piece, right?
Yeah.
I have open communication with my children, but at some point I feel like, oh, okay, maybe I'm over communicating. Maybe I'm telling them a little bit too much. Maybe I'm a little bit too transparent. But for the most part, it's allowing my children to have a voice and allowing them to tell me when, or allowing them to tell me how they feel about certain situations, right? And here's the thing to that, though. You can tell me how you feel about it, but I need you to also understand that just because you tell me how you feel doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be different, right? Because I now am allowed to explain to you why I took the approach that I did, or why I said what I said to you, how I said it. And then it allows them to understand it, because I can think back to times as a kid where I might have got cussed out about something, or I might have got punished for something, and I didn't understand the why, right? So then you kind of misplace that feeling, and it shows up in your adulthood as the way that you cope with different things. Like the way that I communicate in my relationship with my husband is a different, I handle those situations that way because of the misplaced way that I handle something as a child. And I don't want to say that what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say that gentle parenting is going to take that away, because it's not. But if anything, it may help my children understand their emotions a little bit and understand how to navigate conversations with people, some tough conversations with other people. And that's where I feel like the gentle parenting, that part of gentle parenting works for me. But the whole, hey, honey, come here, let's sit down, let's talk about this. Like, I really don't want you to be upset. I listen, when I tell my child to sit down, when I think gentle parenting as a fail, I think about my 2-year-old. Because he don't understand nothing other than, you want some food? You want a snack? Because if I say, hey, sit down. Hey, come sit down right here next to me. I need you to sit right here. Come on. Here's your space. Here's your spot. You want to have the spot by me? Come on. Have a seat. He's like, no. And I'm like, come on. It's okay. No, you do want to. Here, come sit right here. And I got to say it 3, 4, 5. Okay, you know what? Aiden, you got to do the mom tight lip. Sit. And then it's different. Then he be like, oh, okay, she for real.
She for real.
She for real, right? And it's like, at this point, I do what you do when it comes to Aiden, Chloe, or Janelle. That's the 12 to 16, everybody. I'm going to cuss you out first. And I'm going to come back a little bit later and be like, hey, I know you're mad, but let's talk about it.
Yeah. I was upset because of this. And I don't know. I feel like when it comes to gentle parents, I feel like it's different definition.
Yep.
Everybody see it different.
Yep.
Because I'm learning, like, between me and my husband, I'm that parent that I might have to say it a couple times before they do something. And him, he said that shit one time. He said it one time. He can just say it one time and they do it no problem. I said it one time and it's like, it's just like you didn't say nothing. They still going on with that conversation. My middle child, she's good for this. She like, I'm like, hey, Kaylin, we'll talk about it another time. Oh, but Mom, I want to do this and this and that. Kaylin, let's get closer to the day. We're going to talk about it later. And I'm trying to be like, okay, I'm trying to be nice. Okay, and then we get to the Kaylin, I said.
Right. You got to put a little, in your voice for them to be like, oh, all right, my
Go
bad.
sit your ass down. We're gonna talk about it a different time. And then I feel like once they start feeling some type of way, and she looked all tied up and all feeling some type of way, and then she taking her butt upstairs, and then I'm not gonna lie, sometimes hours pass by, and I call her back down, like, hey, this is what happened, this is why it happened. But yeah, my husband like, no, I'm not gonna explain myself to no kids.
Yeah, you know, and here's I will say this. I feel like when it comes to the husbands, they be taking that traditional parenting approach through and through. Like it's however, like, nah, I'm not, nah. Like my husband be like, they gonna do some chores. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But call it. Like, here's one thing that my husband do that I'd be like, nah, if my daughter makes a bowl of noodles and she made her noodles and maybe she left the wrapper to the little season on the counter. This is a real situation, right? And so my daughter makes noodles. She might have left some of the stuff on the counter, little pieces of noodle flakes or whatever the case on the counter, made her noodles. She went, sat down, ate her food, finished, walked on the way, went away. My husband, if he walked through the kitchen and he seen it, he would call her to come down from wherever she was. Get out here, clean this up. Me, I'm like, I'm finna clean this up. I'm gonna have a conversation with her later. I'm gonna say, hey, earlier today you made some noodles and I had to clean that mess up. I'm not doing it again, right? Or I'll say, if I have to do it again, then I'm gonna take that phone because clearly you're distracted.
That is so funny. That is so funny because the same incident happened at my house too. The noodle thing and everything, and it's like, it's funny because he's like, that's that lazy shit, and that's where.
And I'm like, she's just forgetful.
And he's like, no, they faces in the phones, they worry about all this other stuff like that, but they not worried about cleaning up behind themselves. And one thing I'm not gonna do is work my butt off at work, then have to come home and clean after kids. And he said that all the time, and I'd be like, well, baby, they got to do that chores anyway. Time like he should just get up. He said, no, that's lazy. Clean up behind yourself. And I'm not even gonna lie. If my husband listening, I agree because when they get older, and you think about it, you see like all these TikTok videos, like, she's so pretty and stuff like that, but look at her house. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying my kids won't clean, and they might clean at the end of the day or whatever like that, but what if they like, okay, I just do it when I'm ready to clean the house.
Right, and
then that shit just piled up. So I understand, I get where he be coming from, but I just be like, can we just say it like, Kaylin, come clean. Can you just clean it? Kayla, can you just clean your mess up? Can you just say more? No, it's get your ass down here and clean up behind yourself.
And then they get cussed like the whole time. Being nasty. Your room probably look like this. Your bathroom probably look like this. And I'd be like, ooh, you ain't lying, but ooh, can we tie a prettier bow on it? And that'd be me. I guess that's my idea of gentle parenting. I'm gonna just say it nicer, but when you say it nice, don't take it for real. So you put that little bass in your voice.
You know what? Because I did the same way, and maybe that's what our problem is, that we just need to come off the back and just come get shit.
Yeah, but if you think about it, that's how my mom used to talk to me. I used to be like, she ain't even got to do all of that. She doing too much.
But it also, you think that way, but we have to say it a couple times.
Right. So here's the other piece to it too, though, right? Because when I have that follow-up conversation, right, and I'm talking to my girls, and sometimes I'll have a conversation where I'm planting a seed for something, right? Mm-hmm. It may be a follow-up conversation, like, for example, driving over here, right? In the car ride over here, Chloe's in the backseat, we're just driving, we're just talking. And I might talk to her about something like, I don't know, I'll just wrap a message into something. Like, one time we had a conversation about taking care of your business now so that you can enjoy all of your time after that, right? Yes. Because when you know that you have this looming thing that ain't been done yet, having fun is a little bit harder. Because in the back of your mind, you still thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have all of this fun, but when I get done, I'm gonna handle that. I know that if my mom see it before I get to it, I'm gonna be in trouble. But I want to do this first. Like, I want to play this game. I want to watch this video. I'm going to do it after I watch this video, right?
Yeah, next video coming and stuff like that. But
the whole time, the whole time it's in your head that you need to do that.
Right. And that's also doing that now when they get grown, that would help a lot. Yeah. Because you saying that, look, I didn't go back to college until, a couple years back. And I feel like I should have did that before. And then you have a lot of people like they want to travel, they want to spend all their money doing this stuff now, but then now when they get older, they got to do all the stuff that the people that was take care of their business before.
Yeah.
So I agree with that 100% because, and then also planning stuff, thinking about stuff, because like, y'all, I'm gonna finish my bachelor, but guess what? I'm gonna go back to school. No, that ain't no. I should have.
It still is.
No,
because there are people who still right now putting it off.
Well, if you put it that way, yeah.
So,
but I don't know. I'm like, I already knew when I had my kids young. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to take care of my business now. So when I get older and they out the house, not to have my fun. Mm-hmm. But you still like, I'm just doing next year. I'm gonna just do it next year, and then next thing you know, you look up and you gotta go clean that room or that house because you didn't do it before.
Right. Well, and that's why, like, you know, we have those conversations. Like, I have those little seed planting conversations, and I always tell my kids this: the things that I say to you are things that I wish somebody would have told me.
Yes.
You know, because it's like, if I tell them, do you think I'm successful? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like,
baby.
Right. If you only knew. But it's like, I always tell them, if you think that I am successful, I want you to know some things, right? I'm successful in your eyes now because of some steps that I took later in life. I said, if I had taken some of these steps 10 years sooner, we would be living a lot better than we live in today. And you think we living good now.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I said, I'm still ambitious, and I still my kids know, like, anything that I say that I want to do, I'm going to do it. And my kids have been there with me every step of the way, and they've seen me do the things that I say I want to do. And that's why they feel like I'm successful, right? But I tell them all the time, if I had that same drive just 10 years sooner, we would be so much further. I was like, you see the places that I talked to y'all about that I want to be next, we could have been there already if I didn't procrastinate, if I took care of my business first and played later. And so now I always tell them, did you take care of your business first? And they'd be like, I'll be right back. Right? So if I see them playing or doing something, and then sometimes I'm like, did you take care of your business first? I'm like, yeah, I actually did my homework for tomorrow too. Oh, sure. Okay then.
Say less.
Right. But it's like, so then that's why I'm like, all right, then cool. You want to go to the store with me? And then they're like, oh, wait, come on, we finna go to Five Below real quick. I ain't need nothing from the store, but it's just like, I want to show you, like, you know what? I appreciate you taking that little extra step. I appreciate you doing that little extra work to make sure that you plan for your future. And I always say, one of the other things I say to them is, will future you be happy with the moves you're making right now? Mm-hmm. Right? So it's like, are you doing something right now that future you gonna be happy for? Because sometimes I'm like, ooh, future me was looking out. I'll be then, like, for example, I hid $50 in like this little wallet thing that I got. Mm-hmm. And like one week I'm like, dang, man, I don't know. Hold on, let me figure something out. The kid was talking about a field trip or something. I'm like, I don't really have no. And I was like, wait a minute. Y'all always spring something up on me with cash. I went and I found a little $50. I said, future me was looking out, because it was a time where I had a little bit of extra cash and I was like, I could spend it or I could just put it up real quick. It was like I could swipe or I could pay with this cash. I'm like, I'm just swiping. I'm gonna put this cash up because my kids always popping up with something where they need some cash. Future me was looking out. So, and I always tell them little things like that. Like, what will future you say? Are you setting your future you up for success, or are you gonna set your future you back?
Yeah.
So then they'd be like, all right, well, yeah, let me go ahead and take care of this right now. Chloe, it's always her laundry. So I always like, all right, so when future you want to wear that shirt and it's dirty, what you gonna do? Because I forgot.
That's a good example.
No, because it always happens that way. Because I think Thanksgiving, we were coming over here for Thanksgiving, and we was running late because Chloe had an outfit in mind that she wanted to wear. Do y'all want to know when she decided to do the laundry? The morning of. And do you think that laundry was dry when it was time to go? No. So she was mad that she had to switch her whole outfit that she was so eager to put together. She was mad she had to change it. I said, you messed it up for future you. Future you mad at you right now. Current you was mad at past you because you didn't look out for future you. Yeah. And she'd be like, when I say stuff like that, but it's like, that's the truth. Just saying little things to them. It's because we always say the phrase, if I knew now, or if I knew then what I know now, right? Mm-hmm. So why don't we do that for our kids? We can, now here's the thing, because we know that there was somebody in our lives, whether it was a parent or an auntie or somebody, there was somebody along the way that tried to tell us, but we was too right, and we didn't want to hear it. But that's why I feel like we got to start that conversation, plant those seeds a little bit smaller, where they are more impressionable. Like Chloe's 12, it's a little bit easier to tell her little things and plant little seeds into her mind. Whereas Janelle, her mind be so made up about so many things already because she's so like she's 16. She's coming to who she is and she's still growing, but she's got a lot of her core memories. She's got a lot of her core pieces there right now that make up the person that she wants to be.
But in a couple years it will be different, and that's just with me. I had a conversation. In fact, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday with Trayvon. I said, okay, so what you doing when you get done with school? Because your program only 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing afterwards? And he was like, I don't know. And he was like, I will have it. I will have what I want to do before the 2 years up. I'm like, well, you need to game plan now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do? I'm like, do you want to open your own restaurant? I'm like, say or do you want to do catering? Do you want to do, private chef? You need to start putting yourself out now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, so say you do want to, get your own restaurant. How about you save money up now to get you a little food truck? We have a food truck park over here. Set yourself over there, make enough money, then you can open your restaurant. You can start this stuff now, so by the time you get out, you don't have to worry about how I'm going to do this.
Right. So start already doing some research on how to do it. Yeah.
Or just having ideas on what you want to do afterwards, because you don't want to be stuck with a degree and then you switch your mind at the last minute, because I feel like that's what I'm doing now. I mean, my bachelor's degree, like the business degree, I feel like what we do, we need it. We don't need it, but it's like
it's going to be helpful.
Most of the information that I learned in business school, we already knew. And that's the part that was getting me. I'm like, but I can get so many different jobs with this degree, but then they lowballing you with this degree, because I feel like a bachelor degree is like an associate degree now, y'all. Don't get me started on that. I can go down a long road. But then you have other degrees where you can come out with already having experience and getting right into a job, making 40 plus an hour. So if I knew that before I got my bachelor's degree, I would have did that before.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of those situations where if you knew then what you know now.
Exactly.
And you're trying to give him that foresight of, hey, but so when you do that, do you give real life, like when you have those conversations with your kids, do you tell them about a situation, like an actual scenario? Because I do that, where I tell them about a scenario like, look, in this moment, this is the decision that I made. And I think back to that moment that if I knew this, and this, when I made that decision, I probably would have made that decision and it may have turned out differently. I may have, had a different outcome in that scenario if I knew better.
You know what? I have not. I just go off of, if you do this now, this could be your outcome. Mm-hmm. I don't never give them an example of what I've been through or I went through. And this is why I feel like you should do this way. I just hit them with the, I don't know. I'm just one of those people that be like, I'm curious with everybody's gonna do. I'm one of those people where I can see you doing something well. Like, you should start a business. You should do this. I'm one of those types.
Like, you cook real good. You need to open up a restaurant.
Right. Like, I give them a lot of just like different options they can do within that field. Mm-hmm. And I'm that type of person. So I don't know, but that was a good example, because I could have been like, hey, no, you know what? I just lied, because I had told him, you know what, the age that you is now, stacking up your money is great, because I was living on my own with Kayla at 2021, and I had light bill, gas bill, rent, car note. I had all these different bills. You could be stacking your money up now. So I did do that. I did that.
Yeah. You know that thing that we said that we happened, it just happened to me right now. We joked a little bit earlier because I felt like I had this little moment where I was like, girl, sometimes I just have to say what I got to say, because if I don't say it right then, I'm going to lose it and I ain't going to never remember it again. And it just happened right now. I don't be trying to cut nobody off. I just be trying to get my little thought out, because if I don't, it's going to be like, poof.
Yeah, and then we hear it's rude, but it's...
So we hear it's rude.
We do, because I'm not gonna lie, my husband told me the other day I was being rude because I did that, but if I didn't say it in that moment, I would have forgot it, and to be honest, it was not important. I could have waited, but in my head, I'm like, I have to say it because I'm gonna forget it. And because I knew it was not important, I knew if I didn't say it, I was going to forget.
It's gonna be outside of mind. You won't think about it ever again. Listen. You preach to the choir because I understand, okay. but we're talking about like if we knew then what we know now, and having those conversations with our kids where we kind of tell them a little bit of the background. What I like about doing that is it allows my kids to be inquisitive, because then they'll start to ask questions. What did you think about? And it allows me to see their thought process, because they'll say, well, I would have just did blah, 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 blah. And I'd be like, and why would you have done that? Well, I would have did it because boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, okay, I can see where or why you would think that. And that may be a good idea. You may already be steps ahead of me in thinking, because like they already thinking in a way that I wouldn't have thought at their age. Yeah. And I think that even, that's just a little bit that be making me feel like our conversations mean something. And our conversations do something. Because I can already see the benefits of those conversations in the conversations that we have about certain things.
Yeah, and then if they do get to that point, they can go back and think about the conversation y'all had. Mm-hmm. Because when you really think about it, some of the stuff that we have been through, even if we did not, like, at that moment, we didn't think about the other outcomes. We just thought about, okay, this is the best route at this time.
Right.
But if we would thought bigger, then we could have been like, oh, okay, I know better. You know what I'm saying? And I think, and then that goes back to how our parents raised us and how we raising our kids now, because back then I feel like we didn't have that much, like they didn't have that much stuff in the world to just look up stuff.
Yeah, we didn't have no context to nothing.
Right. I'm like, if I'm thinking something and I'm kind of confused about something or anything like that, I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I hop my butt on Google, I hop my butt on TikTok. I'm like, can you do this? Or can you do that? And I look at different videos to see different people's point of view. Mm-hmm. And then I make my own, decision out of what I see. But I might think something and I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the only one that going through this or thinking this way. Yeah. And I'll look out in the world and see, okay, what they think or how they doing it. And then I'm like, okay, if I do this and this and this together, that'll be better.
Right. Right. And I do like the fact that, like, as parents, as millennials, some of us, we will go find the information before we just give an answer to our kids. Some of us, right? Some of us don't even bother. Our kids are inquisitive. Our kids have questions, and they have to go do the research and be resourceful on their own. But, like, I just think back to, for one, if we had questions about something our parents said, you better not ask, because you're going to get smacked. But not only that, but like a lot of times our parents will tell us something and it was just because they said so.
Right. Because I said so.
Right. If you fix your mouth to say why, girl, your lips was gone faster than that, faster than you can get the word out. But it's just like I don't know. It's like part of me feels like in the generation that we're in today, because we have such close conversations with our kids, because we're so open with our kids, because we're so transparent with our kids, because we allow for them to have a voice, because we allow for them to ask questions, sometimes they forget who the parent is.
Girl.
And sometimes we have to remind them that we ain't their little friend. But I feel like that's the battle of it. That's the battle that we're dealing with. We're juggling parenting as millennials, trying to do this gentle parenting, trying to do this transparent parenting, when we want to be there with our kids. We want to make sure that they feel heard. We want to give them the type of resources that we didn't have as kids. We want to give them all of those things. Right. But it's like we have to do it in a way where we still have to maintain those boundaries that they talk about in gentle parenting. And we maintain, the hierarchy, because they were forgetting who the HBIC is sometimes. And I'm saying that with only because I got some girls, and I feel like my 16-year-old, she understands. She be like, she might make a joke and she's like, ooh, she grabbed them lips real quick. My bad. This ain't the time. My bad, mom. But my 12.
She realized who you was real quick, who she was talking to. That's what it was. She had to look at like, I'm talking to my mom and
or she'll like, cause don't get me wrong, we have our moments we be playing or whatever. Yeah. But there are certain things I don't play. Don't play like that. Don't talk to me like, I don't care how much kikiing we doing. Don't talk to me like that. I don't care. So she'll have a moment. She's like, "Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't mean like that, mom. I'm just playing. But my 12-year-old, sometimes she be like, I said, who you said to?
Right.
Don't repeat yourself to me like that. Like, I'd be like, Chloe, and she'll come. I'll be like, Chloe, what? What? You said what too? Like, I be having to remind her, you're still a child here, right? And you need to be mindful of how you speak to adults. Like, one time she said, she was talking to a math teacher, and she had said to him something about a lesson that she wasn't getting the lesson, and she was trying to tell him, you know, you just taught us this lesson yesterday, and you're trying to tell us to do it on our own, but you haven't showed us. Like, you put one question on the board, you said, all right, this is what we're working on, and then the next day you had us work independently, and I didn't get it. Right, I didn't get it the first day. We only spent a couple of minutes on the topic, and then the next day you have us working independently, and you want us to work on our own. Right? She's trying to voice to him, she basically trying to say, I need help. You know, like you didn't give me enough. Like, you didn't give me enough. I don't know what I'm doing here. I need you to give me a little bit more. Right. But the way that she said it to him didn't come out that way. It was more like, you expect me to do this, and you didn't do what you were supposed to do yesterday and teach me this, teach me all of it. Something of those effects, right? And then the teacher told her, well, I'm not going to help you because you have an attitude. Now, don't get me wrong. I felt like I wanted to go up to the school because it's your job to teach her. Right. But I get where you're coming from, because if she getting smart, if you that smart, then figure this shit out yourself. You know?
And you have teachers now. You have to go. The teachers that's in the school, half of them is our age, and they looking at you like, wait, you said what? You talking to who? Like what? Like that. And I be having to remind myself, because some of the kids be telling me some of the things the teachers be saying. I'm like, but you a teacher. You don't understand that. I understand my child got a smart mouth. But you need to, what you being a teacher, you need to learn how
to manage that.
To like do your job
around that without taking it personal.
Right. And then you calling me and telling me, hey, this person did this. Your daughter she didn't understand something. She got smart. Let me handle it at home. Don't be just talking to my child any kind of way. I don't expect teachers to just dish out what every kid say, but I expect for y'all to do it in a correct way. You're gonna get attention or something like that along
like
that
let's
line.
Call your mom then. Let's loop me in or something, but don't tell my child that she just came to you and told you that she don't get it. At the end of the day, strip away all the extra that she gave, right? She's still saying she don't get it and she needs some help.
Yeah. And you should be used to it if you're dealing with
teenage, middle school kids.
Right. You should be used to it at this point. You need to pick up what grade you can handle. If you can't handle 6th, 7th, 8th grade, you need to go lower, you need to go higher. I'm just saying.
Right. I mean, and at the end of the day, she called you out for something that you did not do as a teacher. Because he knew he didn't teach that lesson in its entirety. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, because when I go into the parent app, I'm seeing other parents saying that there are more children who feel like he spent 20 minutes on this topic. He put, a few questions on the board. He showed us one day. 20 minutes, he showed us a couple of times of how to do it. And then the next day, he wanted us to work independently on it. And when we tried to tell the man that we don't know what we're doing, he was doing something else on his computer.
And that's just go off the back. You know what? I was going to go somewhere else, but I'm
another topic. Another day.
And look, I was like that. That goes into like, you got kids that can't do certain things because the way that, not all, but some teachers teach. And then when kids call them out on it, they don't know how to handle that. But that's a different conversation for a different day. Anyway. Girl, I just said.
Listen.
Girl.
I already know. Because, I deal with it. I thought it was crazy that kids don't get homework, right? They don't carry books. Everything is on a Chromebook. And we at home talking about this thing about no screens, but all day at school, they have nothing but a screen in front of them.
That's correct. Girl, I'm sorry, I was going down this road. Like, you really think about it, these teachers be saying that, they be like, oh, y'all got so many screen time, this and that and that, but they don't use a chalkboard anymore. They use
smart board, which is a screen.
It's a screen. They do all their work on laptops. They don't have no books. How can you like less screen time, but we're using screen time to learn. We're using screen time to do everything, but you want less screen time.
There's no analog to anything anymore, and that's why these kids' handwritings is trash. Girl. That's why they grammar is trash because they got autocorrect on everything. It's just I don't even want. That's like you said. It's another topic for another day. We'll go down that wormhole. Hopefully y'all will be more in tune in this conversation. And the checks, I keep checking down. I'm like, I see people in here, and then y'all coming and going, but ain't nobody saying nothing. Are we not? Here's one thing I do want to ask, because I know we coming up on our last 10 minutes here. Granted, this conversation are we as millennials, our parenting styles, is the breaking generational curses, is it actually breaking curses, or are we creating problems? We won't know for sure until we become grandparents, but I don't want to see that happen for a while now. So,
that part.
But I'm just wondering, I'm just curious, because I know that we've had some opportunities, right, as a podcast, and I know that, you know, we missed y'all last episode, right? Mm-hmm. And here's a little piece of it, right? I'm just wondering, are we engaging enough for y'all? Do y'all care about what we're talking about? Like, are our topics like not it for you, or like what? I just want to know. I'm just very, very curious. I know we have engagement. Y'all pop in, y'all pop out, but y'all don't be as in tune in the conversation anymore. Y'all don't be dropping in the comments. Not even just to say, hey, I'm here, I'm watching. Like, we don't get any of that anymore. We get more out of people who go back and listen to it on like our audio, like on iHeartRadio and things like that. But when y'all are watching live, we don't really get much from y'all. So I'm just curious, are we not intriguing to you anymore? Are we not engaging?
Or do y'all want us to be like how we in person? I think this is what it is. Because when we in person, y'all get a different of us. And I feel like we had this conversation before, when we do our podcast, we try to give y'all the bun up of us. Like, we try to be all proper. We try to, look, not cuss as much. Knowing this episode, y'all got me cussing a little bit. Yeah. But we try to filter
the conversation a little bit.
Yeah, depending on who watching and things like that. Or do y'all just want the real us?
No, I feel like y'all just want us to be ratchet. Y'all want us to get up on here. Y'all want us to be talking about some drama. Y'all want us to be talking about what happened at Frank's on Thursday night. Like, y'all just want us to do that type of stuff. And I'm just saying that's just...
I'm sorry, because that's just funny when you say that, because y'all...
You want to talk about that lie?
Not just one, but a couple of them I seen today. It's real. So,
you want to talk about what you see on that Facebook Live? So
let me listen. No, I'm not gonna say what, but one thing I'm saying for real, when I left Lake County for the drama, when I tell you, when I seen on social media on a daily from Lake County, it be real, and I'm not gonna lie, I be watching that, and I just be like, do we need to get a little, just sprinkle it in there here and there, but still be proper? Because I was most definitely in tune to drama, a lot of drama, and I'm not even a drama person, but sometimes seeing it just drag you in. I'd be like, she did what? They did what? He was? Girl, I know you lying. I know you lying. But
and it's like, I don't know. I really sit here and I wonder. But then there's also other pieces too, right? Like, I was talking to another friend about the podcast, and I'm like, I don't understand, like, our engagement has changed a little bit. The dynamic has changed a little bit. And I don't want to feel like our conversations are always so informational. And, you know, we're sharing these topics about things that we want to see done better and things like that. Like, what if we just have some conversation where we just let our hair down? And my friend's like, what if you guys talk about sex? I'm like, But the thing is, like, stuff like that is where people want to tune in. People want to hear what you got to say about stuff like that.
I feel like with that, if we were single, we'd be fine.
Exactly. And that was what I was trying to explain. We're not single, having a conversation. But then they were like, okay, but that's another dynamic to speak about, though. Speaking about sex from a married person's perspective, because it does change when you are married compared to how it was when you were single, right? And it's just like, do you really want to go down that rabbit hole of talking about how things like that change as married people compared? But I'm like, but who are our viewers? It's just so many things. I can literally go down this whole wormhole of the conversation I have with my friend about other things to talk about. But I just want to hear from y'all. We want to hear from y'all. What do y'all want to hear? Like, and I feel like we've been screaming this for 3 seasons.
Look, give us some juicy topics to talk about, and we will give you all our opinion on them. And we're gonna be
unfiltered.
We're gonna be bringing Keela.
Yeah, and for some of y'all, or I'll just be Buka. Y'all want me to be Buka? Because I'll be Buka. What's up? Like, I'm just saying, what do y'all want? Because, like, I keep, like, all episode, I keep looking down, and I'm looking at the analytics. I'm looking at y'all popping in, popping out, popping in, popping out. And I'm like, usually, when y'all pop in, y'all at least say something in our comments. Y'all at least, even if it is just a, hey, y'all, watching from wherever, or hey, you know, good to see y'all. What, even if it's just a hi. You know, but we don't even get that from y'all now. It's crazy to me because, like, when we don't go on, I literally get calls and text messages like, where was y'all this week? So y'all looking for the episodes. I don't know if it's just like, you know, I understand that we do have people who watch it at a different time because apparently that 7 o'clock on Sundays was more convenient for a lot of people, which I'm sorry, y'all. It's just a little late because life be life, you know. But I don't know. Maybe we'll work some things out. I don't know. But I'm just curious. If y'all don't mind, if you're catching this live at a later time, drop us a comment. Let us know how you feel. Let us know what y'all thinking.
Because if we do need to go back to a later time, like, let us know so we can do that. Like, let us know what y'all want from us. Because we here to have conversations with y'all.
Right.
So, yeah, we can have conversations with each other all day.
Literally. And we do. Because y'all, we will work a full shift to work on the phone.
Really though,
from literally
the beginning of our shift to the end of our shift, we most definitely be on the phone. She be in the car driving, and we having conversations, and
so we can do that all day without being on live. And the fact of the matter is, I do know that a lot of those conversations be a lot more juicy than these conversations. Yeah. But that's because, like, we don't know what y'all want to hear from us. We don't know. Yeah. So if you don't mind, if it's not too much, go ahead and drop it in our comments, even if you're watching later, and tell us a little bit, right? Give us some insight. Tell us what it really is. If y'all feel like what we're doing is a waste and y'all don't really care if we continue this podcast, let us know that too, because we will definitely stop wasting our time. But we enjoy having these conversations. We will really wish to have you guys along for it, hearing your thoughts, hearing what you guys think about the topics, you know, and expanding on the discussions, right, when y'all join in. So with that being said, we will see y'all at the next episode because we're rounding out this one. I know we didn't have a Red Flag Chronicles. I just didn't think it was fitting for this week's topic because, you know, we're talking about our kids and Red Flag Chronicles, and he said, she said, this just didn't feel fitting. Because we're talking about parenting and raising. We probably could have still did. Now that I think about it.
Red flags for red flags being a parent. Some of those parents that
have red flags of them co-parenting. Now our mind is
going. You know what? We should have a whole episode on co-parenting because I don't feel like we don't co-parent. I just have my next. I'm sorry. Let's go. Let's finish it over.
No. We just gonna wrap it up.
I don't watch what I say. That's the part what we need to start doing. To start watching what we say and just say it.
Just say what's on our minds because clearly we hold a lot back. Because think about it. After I hit this live stream button and we start discussing or recapping this episode, it's gonna be so many things like, girl, I wish I would have said about this or that. Because there was a few times in this discussion where I was like, I really want to say this, but I'm not gonna say that because I don't want to hurt people's feelings, or I don't want to overstep no boundaries, or I don't want to, whatever the case may be. But maybe we just need to change our look. We're gonna have unfiltered. Girl, let's talk about it. Let's unfiltered talk about it, because for real, I think that's really what y'all waiting for. Y'all waiting for us to like get loose for real. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this week. Whether you're watching live or you're watching the playback, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Oh, we didn't even acknowledge the fact that we're in a different setting. So we both are in Houston, so we figured we would do some episodes here, some episodes at my place, and we just go back and forth between the two. But yeah, so in case y'all was wondering why our setting was different. But yeah, so we thank you guys for tuning in. We definitely hope that y'all would listen to what we just said and put your thoughts in those comments, because we want to know for real. So thank you guys. See y'all here on, is it January?
Don't get me
2nd?
Don't give me the line.
Hold on. It might be January 2nd. I want to say, I don't want to leave without giving y'all the actual date. January 5th. Look at me lying like a mug. I was way off. But yes, so January 5th is the first Sunday in January. So we'll see y'all back here for episode 5.